Okay. Hello. My name's Lyle Paps. You've probably seen a few of my videos before if you're wandering onto my page. I've decided to make a video series called 4D Concepts for 3D People because I find when I try and explain a lot more spiritual concepts to some people, it's very hard for them to grasp just because they haven't had a lot of time to entertain that entire philosophy, that entire side of life. Because, to be honest, I feel that our education has a stranglehold on people's imagination. I think that the best way to explain that is I wrote a note once, right, on my Facebook, and it was something that I highly agreed with. I called it, The Stone in the Calm Pond, and I was just talking about how we sort of make waves with our consciousness in our reality depending on the bangs that we make, and the decisions that we make, and how society aims to actually remove those decisions as if they never happened, because the calm pond to them is a calm pond where nothing happens, not where big bad things can happen, but an equilibrium will settle after. And a lot of the response that I got from that, because I was excited, it was one of my first, like, what I would consider intelligent writings. So when I showed some people what it was exactly, and I was very happy about it, the biggest thing that a lot of them had to say is that's very, like, that's great and stuff. That's very, very similar to a lot of philosophy and psychology that I've been reading, and it's like, great, why, I don't personally understand why it has to be then taken and cross-analyzed with what somebody else has already said and sort of, like, proven. I think that I think that learning shouldn't be compared to something that's in the books and taken for complete fact, and I feel that we really do take everything for fact as soon as it's put in the book. And I think that we need to go through life and learn things, but I don't think that we always necessarily need to remember who it's from, or say that because they had that thought, they're the only person who validly owns that thought, and that no one else can be original. Because as soon as you do that, it takes a lot of the enthusiasm away from it. I strongly feel that way. There are a lot of people out there that get discouraged because they truly are learning very, very intelligent things. But they get dumbed down by the concept of, you should know this because somebody else has already come up with it and you are nothing special for knowing it. Anyways, that being said, I'm pretty sure that I've pretty much rounded up on that, and I tend to ramble, so I'm just going to keep moving forward. 4D concepts for 3D people. Great. I'm going to move on with pretty much the topic of this one. I thought I'd just start off with the basis, reality. So, reality is broken up into a lot of things, so I'm just going to start off with the basis of what we see around us. So essentially what we see around us is atoms, molecules, particles, right? But if you go down, 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 you get to a level where, with what some people try to explain as string theory, with a string with constant tension, but nothing pulling on it and constantly snaps. To me, this is completely wrong. I feel that that is actually the constant expansion and contraction of electromagnetic like particles, so to speak. Not exactly particles, but space inhabited by electromagnetics and its physical mechanics. A very good person to look into to start understanding some concepts like that would be Edward Leedskalnin. You can go on the internet, and if you do a little bit of digging, you can find an ebook called Magnetic Current by Edward Leedskalnin. Wonderful. He'll explain everything absolutely perfectly to you. But anyways, that's sort of like what I take as the revision for any concepts like string theory and stuff like that, because I find string theory to be absolutely preposterous. And I know it's just a theory, but I think that it's ridiculous that it's the theory that's taken seriously nowadays. So anyways, now that we're working on this electromagnetic level, at this point in time, at this low down, all we literally have around us is all static, you know? There's literally nothing. So our mind takes this static, builds it up, and builds it up into what we see around us, like that blue wall behind me, for example. So how it does that is through your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is like, I think it's seated right in here, and it's just about the size of a pea, and it's responsible for producing pretty much all the chemicals in your body and sending the signals to the rest of your brain to start producing those chemicals. It's essentially known for producing the spirit drug DMT in the body and melatonin, which are two very, 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 very important for like chemicals for consciousness opening, because like the DMT helps you go into a more dreamlike state in your waking state, and it helps you cross-analyze some things that you see in your physical world with things that you would associate with the spiritual world. So anyways, your pineal gland takes all of these electromagnetic currents all around us, and it processes them through the eye, through all of your senses, including your intuition, and then it turns it into something that makes sense, essentially. But something that makes sense for me doesn't make sense to the person next to me, and I will explain in a second why we all see something similar. So, I see this color of blue, for example, but you don't see that color of blue. My skin tone isn't even the same to you, because we can see millions and millions and millions of different shades. I think we can see something like 100,000 different shades of red, or something like that. But anyways, the reason why you and I have such similar visions of the world around us is because of something I like to call Maya reality. So, this all starts actually in the heart. So the pineal gland processes all the information that you see around you, right? It turns it into what you see around you. So then at that point in time, it takes it and now it puts it through the body, and you're understanding it. So then it brings it to the heart, and the heart, I need to put a lot of different articles up on here to substantiate my claims, but essentially the heart is the most powerful organ in the body, and it actually pumps in an electromagnetic field, and every single different emotion, every single different state of being is unique, as in it has its own specific heartbeat, even though they're just like micro-fragmentally different. So anyways, the heart actually pumps and casts an electromagnetic field with some assistance from the magnetite in your body. But anyways, that field can go visibly, I think, something like 20 feet around you. And I'm gonna put a link for some auric vision practice, because it's very interesting. You start to be able to learn the difference between the vibratory state of, for example, that wall and a piece of wood. They vibrate at different levels, and while I haven't really gotten color out of my auric vision, I hardly feel like it's necessary sometimes, because there's still so many cool little quirks that come with it. Okay, so anyways, Maya reality. I've sort of come off this. So anyways, the fact is that our aura can be sensed with a Kirlian. Well, okay, so it can be taken with Kirlian photograph, but it can also be sensed with certain. I can't remember the exact tool, but it can be sensed up to 100 feet away. So think how impossible it is in this day and age to stay 100 feet away from absolutely everybody who is casting their reality in front of them. Essentially 100 feet around them. So anyways, just as the pineal gland takes in your own pyrrhic perception, it also takes in the electromagnetic field of hearts around you. Because you're taking in the electromagnetic field cast by the earth, you're gonna take in this resonances from other people as well. And because of this, it really, really helps to establish the fact that this wall is blue, that this shirt is black, that I am more attractive than a lot of other. I'm so kidding. That's really ignorant. I was just making a joke. But anyways, yeah, essentially because two hearts are side by side, two pineal glands processing each other's hearts, it's a lot of the time our conceptions of what are around us, even though we aren't consciously aware that we're picking up other people's vibrations, are very, very similar. We fall into something called Maya reality. So yeah, that is essentially why you and I see the exact same thing all around us, with a little bit of variance. Okay, now I've gone on for 10 minutes, and I am just going to stop at this point in time, and I'm just going to say any questions, and then I'm going to get back to you in the next video. Tell me if I was a little bit too muddy on something, and I'll go completely over it again, but stay tuned next time, because I am going to talk about something called archetype, and why it makes sense to listen to your dream state, and also why seriously important things do happen in the dream trance states, and I'm just going to give some information to validate you in your understanding of the dream state, because a lot of people associate it to the imagination. Well, in the dream and trance state, some things happen that your imagination doesn't completely understand, and that to me says that there's a little bit more happening there, because the imagination should be a collection of pre-experienced events. But if things happen in the imagination that you must then go further and look into to understand completely, then you know that there's another element there, and that falls into the line of experiencing archetype, and I have two very, very good examples to show you for next time. So stay tuned. Seriously, any questions, message me, inbox me if you're a little embarrassed. And I will completely clarify it in a response video, and then I will get to my next video. Okay. Love you guys. You're really cool. Everybody on this earth is really, really cool. I'd like to say namaste, but that's a little phony. But peace to you. Peace to all of you. You're all beautiful people, and you need not be caught up in everything that's around you saying otherwise. You're all lovely. Goodbye.